So the new delivery is here now. Miata fans rejoice. We're working on this guy today. So today we're working on my 97 Miata. I'm having a problem with my windows. So I'm in my car and I've got a problem with my power windows. The passenger side just goes down really slow, but the driver's side is completely not working. And I'll show you here. When I try to roll it down, you'll see it just barely moves here. That's as far as it goes. There's something in the door that's causing it not to go down anymore. And this one over here, look how slow it is. Just so you know that the temperature outside plays a big key role in the speed of how this goes up and down. When it's warm outside, it goes much quicker. But ever since the temperature dropped, it's just so slow. So I don't know if that's just the grease in there that is, freezing up or, not doing its job. But I think we're gonna try to fix this today. So for this job, I picked up some Delrin window bushings. It comes with some, just the Delrin bushings and some washers. And I got this from Miata. Let's see, bushing set, there's the part number. And I'm gonna re-grease the track here. The important thing to know about I guess lubricating this is make sure you use something that is water resistant. I'm going to try the white lithium grease. You can also use silicone paste. Just as long as it's water resistant, that's all you really need to be worried about. For more hard to reach areas, you can use the spray silicone. This will probably go in a lot of the track areas, but what I can reach where the actual bushing goes, I'm going to try to use more of the grease just because it's going to last a lot longer. Alright, so first thing you need to do is take off the door card, and there's 4 screws that basically hold this on. You got to pry off this little piece right here with a flathead screwdriver, and there's a bolt back there. There's a screw right here, and then there's 2 underneath the armrest, one right here and right here. And then after you unscrew those, there's a lot of little clips going around the sides of the door card. You just gently pull away from the corners to pop those off, and then you just kind of lift up and away, and it comes right off. So let's go ahead and get started on this. door card off, and this is what the door looks like with that off. If you go back to my interior video where I talk about my stereo system, these are the clear water speakers for the Mazda Miata, custom made specifically for the Mazda Miata. I don't know of any other manufacturer that does that, where they make a speaker that's designed specifically for one model of vehicle. But that's them. They sound great too. You'll also see I've got the sound deadening around here to help with the vibrations, and behind the speaker I've got some foam baffling that's supposed to help with some of the bass response. So yeah, so that's the speaker there. First thing you need to know about this is we've got a plastic vapor barrier here, and what this does is this keeps moisture from getting inside the car. So when water comes down through the windows when it's raining, water will get down into the door area, and you don't want that water to get into the car or help deteriorate that door card. Because let's go back here to the door card. You'll see that this is just like fiberboard. If this gets wet, it can get moldy or mildewed or just deteriorate, and we don't want that. So that's why you need to keep your vapor barrier on here. Don't just remove it completely. Try to put it on, and it's held in place with this sticky tar. This is just like an adhesive that we're gonna have to pull back, and it's super sticky, so you'll just reuse. You don't need to purchase any more adhesive for this. Just reuse what's already on there. So we're gonna peel this down and access the bolts for the window this way. Looking down at the window here, this is the bushing that we're going to be replacing. Factory one looks to be intact, but these new Delrin ones are supposed to be a big improvement. So we're going to go ahead and remove these and re-lube them up. Here's the regulator down here that, this may also be a problem why this isn't rolling down. Have a feeling that this may have gotten moved or shifted over, so I'm going to take this apart as well when I'm looking at that. The other side should be a lot easier because it's just going to be because it already works, so it's going to be a pretty quick job. So I just took apart the passenger side door so I could do a stare and compare just to make sure everything looks the same on this side, and it pretty much does. There's the factory bushing there, and part of the regulator here that I need to look at and just see if it's lined up like the other one, because maybe that's why mine's not going down over there. So I'm going to start taking apart the driver's side first. And see what we can discover here.
It's
Okay, this is the first window stop right here. Right there. There's one more right here. It's these two right here that you need to remove, and that's what's holding the window from coming up too far out. And these are adjustable, so if your window is not going up high enough to create a seal against your roof line here, you can adjust these window stops to make it go up a little bit higher. This is a 10 millimeter to get all of these bolts off. Okay, so I've just been kind of manhandling this a little bit. I'm getting it to come down. There's something catching back here. I can hear it creaking. So I'm going to take the glass out, and these are those bolts I was talking about. You got one right here and one right here and another one right here, and that's what holds the glass to the door itself. So I'm going to go ahead and get those out and then pull the glass out and see if I can look in there and see what may be causing this thing to catch. Okay, I've got all the screws out of there. Now it should just come out. And there's the window. Okay, so now that I have the window out, this is a good time to kind of clean out the channels. There's a few ways you could do this. You could remove these tracks from the car. They're just held in by bolts here. You undo the bolts and then the whole thing slides out. You could clean it. Just from looking down in there though, it doesn't look too bad as far as no buildup of gunk. Like I was expecting there to be a bunch. It's not too bad. Also take note of the channel here. What I'm going to do with this is get the spray silicone and just kind of lube that up with the spray silicone, and I'll put some of the white lithium grease in these tracks here as far as I can reach, as well as lube up the bushings that slide around in the tracks. Okay, this is the silicone spray. I'm going to start at the top, just kind of work my way down. You see it is actually getting down in that channel, and that's what you want it to do. That just helps with the resistance of it going in and out of that channel. I'll probably spray a little bit down in here as well, just to make sure that it gets down in there. So I'm going to add some grease as well, but I can't reach all the way down towards the bottom. I'll let this kind of run along the sides here. So here's my window. You just want a nice place to work on. I put it in the back of my truck here. This is the bushing here that we're going to remove. Looks like that's a torx bit there. I'll have to see what size. It looks like maybe a 30T, but I'll look and see. We're going to remove that and install the new Delrin bushing. Wipe off some of this grease. See what I'm working with here. A lot of times these factory bushings are just completely destroyed after so many years. This one's not in too bad a shape, but it is warped. I can see that it is kind of oval shaped here. So I think this is definitely going to help. But I have seen these completely shattered and just rubbed down to nothing. So it's always a good idea after, 20 something years of wear, replace out any rubber and plastic parts. Alright, so I got my little Torx wrench here, and it is a T30. So here's the old one and the new bushing. Basically what you want to do with this is look at the height, and it looks like the factory bushing is a little bit taller. So what they've included in the kit is a metal washer. We're going to add this to the top here to make it the same size as the other. If yours are, you know, worn down, or they're smaller and they seem to be working and they're smaller, you don't need that metal washer, it's optional. Also in this bushing kit are a wavy washer and also a nylon. So the wavy washer is going to go on first, and then the nylon, and then the metal is going to go like that, and that's going to bolt back onto here. Now take note of this part here. You've got this came from the factory. This is part that's already on the window. So make sure you use these factory nylon washers here, because this is what keeps from cracking the glass. If you don't use that and you just use this metal one and you're torquing it down, it will crack your glass. So be very careful with that part. You're going to reuse the factory bolt, which is a T30, and we're going to put the new bushing in and just tighten it down, and we're done with this. We just lube it up and put it back in its track. I also put some grease down in the tracks here, and that'll help catch with the wheel to let them roll up and down.
Everywhere we go reminds us of who we know. You would have thought that this was the place where we could just start again.
So I'm just adjusting these stops here with these bolts. You see there's room to go up and down, and you'll see there's already a line where mine were. You see the circle. So I'm just going to match these up, and what you want to also do is make sure you close your door and see if it seals up. If there's a big gap here, then you need to raise it up. Raise up your window a little further and adjust these stops here. Now here's the finished product. Goes up. Goes down all the way. A lot smoother and quicker than it did before. So I'm actually relieved that that's all I needed to do to fix this problem. There wasn't a broken motor or regulator or anything else in the door. It was just stuck somehow. So I unstuck it by just kind of manhandling it, you know, forcing the glass up and down. and wiggling it around until it kind of broke loose. Finally, I got the window out and replaced the bushing, re-greased the tracks, and it seems to be doing a whole lot better. All I have to do now is just the reverse process of putting the door card back on and then doing the exact same thing to the other side on the passenger end, and that's it. Got the passenger side done. Just take note that when you put the new bushing in, make sure that the wave washer and that nylon washer are also in the track with the bushing. Okay, so I've greased it up here, greased it up here. I sprayed silicone in the channel here. So that should help it quite a bit. If not, I mean, it is what it is, but it is at least going to make it last longer, because those bushings definitely don't last forever and they're 20 years old. So new bushings are always a good idea. Okay, so I've got it swapped out with the new bushing and the channel's lubed up. Let's see if it's any better now. Okay, it's a little bit better. You know, it's also the cold weather makes it go really slow. I've noticed in the summertime it's not a problem at all. It goes down really quick. But I just noticed in the cold weather it is pretty slow. But this does seem to be an improvement, and that Delrin is going to last a lot longer than the old rubber bushing that was in there. So I think it's a pretty good mod because it's super cheap and it's not very difficult to replace. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you liked the video, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you want to see more, you're going to have to subscribe. I've got a lot more Miata content coming in the near future. And weather permitting, always drive with the top down and the lights up, because Miata, booyah!